and welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate it. So we're just gonna go right in. So honestly, this doesn't really surprise me at all. Anytime these big acquisitions happen, it happens all the time. We've seen it from Sony. We've seen it from obviously Microsoft and other studios that have been acquired. There's always mass layoffs or a ton of people getting fired because they have to downsize that studio or whatever. That's usually like right after the studio, merges over. Like when Microsoft bought Blizzard, they laid off a bunch of people too because you no longer need certain departments that come with that company, which kind of makes sense. You don't need two marketing teams. You don't need two PR groups or whatever. But when you're acquiring studios, you should know the risk that you're taking, and they have to kind of like prove themselves, worth it. But they can't do that if they don't have a good leadership ahead that can be able to direct the ship towards being profitable, or But anyway. So Microsoft is closing Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, which created Hi-Fi Rush. I guess that wasn't enough, and then Alpha Dog and Roadhouse. So those are the studios that's getting closed down, and the whole thing is about reprioritization titles. But you had a hit game with Tango. Why close Tango? Or Arcane Studio as well too. Arcane has had some bangers in the past. I can't actually tell you just from my own memory who, or what kind of games Alpha Dog and Roadhouse has made in the past, because I'm sure I played some of their titles, but I can't think of any that comes to mind when I think of, Alpha Dog or Roadhouse. But when you're talking about Arcane Austin, I have played their games, as well as Tango Gameworks. I play their games, and this is what big corporations do. They will buy a studio and then they overspend, and then obviously to make games is extremely expensive. We're in like 100 million plus budget when it comes to making certain games. So this is very unfortunate. I feel for all the developers that lost their job. I hope that they, at least some of them get moved to different studios, because obviously Microsoft has a, bunch of different studios that are still open. It's kind of like wash, rinse, and repeat. What they do is they'll buy a company and then maybe pump out one or two games. And if those games don't do well, they just fold those studios and just go purchase more. So I implore all the independent, studios, or, don't sell out to the big corporations, because your studio might be next on the chopping block. If you have something good, independent, you're making money, and it's fruitful enough where the business can maintain itself, just fucking stay independent. That way you don't have to do anything but make great games and focus on things that you want to focus and projects that you want to do, so you don't have somebody else hanging around over your head trying to tell you what to do and what to make. That's the beauty of being independent. And this is unfortunate. I feel like this news came in at the wrong time. I mean, why announce this right after PlayStation was getting hammered? I mean, this like, something always happens when another company is going through allegations or something. I don't know. Maybe it's just me putting on the straw hat, or should I say the tin foil hat. Today it was announced that Tango Gameworks will close. Thank you everyone that explored the worlds we created. Hi-Fi Rush, along with Tango's previous titles, will remain available and playable everywhere they are today. So like I said, it's a very unfortunate circumstance to be in. Arcane Studios, that's another big L in my opinion. They could have closed off just Alpha Dog and Roadhouse. Honestly, let's see what has Roadhouse made. So what is it? Alpha Dog made some um, mobile games, and then this is Roadhouse. So nothing that I played, but I think the two major companies that people are kind of scratching their head that they closed down is, like I said, Action Studios and Tango Gameworks. Those are some decent, well, actually not decent, very good. Besides Redfall, I think that was a pivotal moment. But I feel like that's also to be blamed by the higher ups, everybody that's making those decisions. That game shouldn't have been out, in my opinion. They should have just let it cook some more before they released it out to the public. I think if that game was successful, I think Arcane Studios wouldn't have closed down. That's for sure. Tango Gameworks too. I think that that game studio should also be alive, but it is what it is. Anyway, you guys let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure to like, subscribe.